let's take it one step further, because I want to understand, are we heading in towards hyperinflation? Because I ask this because everything is rising, as you also pointed out. The dollar index, bond yields, commodities, equities. Even a US Fed voting member, Loretta Mester, said that the long run federal fund rate will be higher than the long standing expectation of 2.5%. Instead, she sees the so-called neutral rate now at 3%. I mean, seems like the Fed is also recalibrating its long-term inflation target. And if you really think about it, it was China. China was one country that was exporting deflation to the world for the last 2-3 decades. That seems to have come to a halt because their per capita income has surged significantly in the last few years, sir. Your thoughts?
Yeah, right. I think in general, the consensus is that it will take 3-4 years for Fed to go back to their 2% target, and they were probably not able to actually get to the target, so they'll settle somewhere between 2.5% and 3% inflation. In fact, if you look at the dot plot projections of FOMC in March, that also signifies that. The inflation will not come to 2% by 2027 also. So I think that's a sort of a given as of now, given the geopolitical conditions we live in. Having said that, I think hyperinflation is still a little bit, long stretch,
Hmm.
because a lot of things needs to go wrong for hyperinflation to, come, especially in India or in US. If you look at the history of hyperinflation and in the countries where it has happened, whether it is Zimbabwe, Turkey, or even Pakistan, you'll see that there are economic and social issues that could potentially mobilize a segment of the population. No political parties is really willing to address those issues. There is a lot of political uncertainty, which sort of helps in not taking the right actions to control inflation. There are always, almost always, there is a political crisis which complicate matters. So my sense is, India and US at least are not in that category. So hyperinflation seems a very, very long stretch, but it can happen in certain countries. It is already happening in certain countries where there is no consensus between the monetary policy and the fiscal policy. I think Turkey is a great example of that, where the hyperinflation has taken over, and the coordinated action between the central bank and the government is just not there. But
Hmm.
I don't think India should be worried about hyperinflation.